SPF was first developed, I believe, in the 1960s. Since the time SPF has actually been used. So a decade later, in the 1970s, when SPF was just commonly being used by people, yes? Skin cancer melanoma rates in the United States has gone up over 200%. You do the math.
Melanoma rates have increased over 200% in the last 4 decades. That's true, that's a fact. It is also a fact, unrelated, but a fact, that the more ice cream the population consumes, the higher the rates of drowning. If I asked you to do the math on that, would you say, shoot, that would mean the math would dictate that we really better discourage ice cream consumption if we want to lower the rates of drowning accidents? No, you'd probably say, I wonder if there's another lurking variable here, something that is causing both of these things and making it look like there's a causative relationship between ice cream consumption and drowning. You might think about it for a little bit longer and say, a lot of ice cream sales happen when it's hot outside. You know what else happens when it's hot outside? People want to go swimming. So the more people that go swimming, unfortunately, the more drowning accidents you have. And you'd be right. That's exactly why there's a relationship between those things. It's not that the ice cream is causing the drowning. A really similar thing happens when we repeat the same exercise with the two facts in the video. One, that melanoma rates have more than doubled over the last 4 decades, and two, that sunscreen use has become increasingly prevalent over that same time period. Could it be that there have been a lot of changes in surveillance and reporting of melanoma over the past 4 decades because there's increased public health awareness about it? Yes, that is true. Could it be that beauty standards have actually changed a lot in the last 4 to 5 decades, and that has driven a lot of adolescents in their teens and 20s to use tanning beds, both men and women, like Gym Tan Laundry, right? Jersey Shore. Yes, that's true. Could it be that clothing styles have changed in the last 40 years? So you are more likely to live your life outside with much more exposed skin than what was considered normal in the first half of the 20th century. Yes, also true. This one's really important. Could it be that the older people get, the more likely they are to develop melanoma, and people have just been living longer over the past 40 years? Yes, absolutely. In fact, the group that has seen the biggest increase in incidence of melanoma over the past 4 decades are people who are above 80, because the older you get, the more likely you are to develop melanoma. Melanoma has a long latency period, so the sunburns that people got in the 80s and 90s caused mutations that are just now starting to cause melanoma. So the older you are, the more sunburns you've had in your life, especially in your youth, the more likely you are to get melanoma. And are there other potentially confounding variables that exist here? Absolutely. The most important bottom line is that when you look at trials who have actually controlled for these confounding variables, or better yet, randomized controlled trials, you actually see that appropriate sunscreen use is associated with a decreased risk of melanoma.